Hello Bama fans! Did James Williams shock Bama fans? Did you see his statements? Was it a surprise? Before the news, subscribe to the channel. He said, "I'm here to dominate against Alabama." James Williams can say whatever he wants, but when it comes to Alabama, words don't win games. The Crimson Tide is a program built on tradition, talent and a mentality that doesn't flinch at provocations. If Williams thinks his arrival at Florida State will be enough to change the scenario against a team like Alabama, he has a long road ahead. Looking at the facts, FSU's situation doesn't inspire confidence. From an undefeated season in 2023 to a disastrous 2-10 in 2024, the Seminoles saw their rise crumble faster than they could climb. They lost key pieces, saw their coaching structure dismantle and now face a year of total reconstruction. And in this scenario, Williams arrives talking about dominating Alabama, a program that, even in transition after the Nick Saban era, remains a college football powerhouse. Let's be blunt, Alabama doesn't rebuild, it reloads. Under DeBoer, the Tide continues to recruit at a high level and attract elite talent, ensuring that the decline some expected never really happens. The offense is being revamped, the defense is getting stronger, and above all, the program has the right mentality. This is a team that plays to win championships, not to survive within its own conference. Williams' statement may even set the Florida State locker room on fire, but it also served as fuel for Alabama. The Tide already enters the field with a chip on its shoulder, ready to prove that it continues to be a powerhouse. And if Williams wants to be remembered, he needs more than words, he needs to deliver on the field. And against a team like Alabama, that task is not at all easy. Talking big before facing a giant can be a confident move or a recipe for disaster. For Williams and Florida State, there's only one way to prove his words weren't just bluster: win. But against Alabama, the challenge seems to be much bigger than he imagined. What do you think? Let's go for it. Alabama enters the 2025 season with a big decision to make: who will be the Crimson Tide's starting quarterback in the DeBoer era? And if there's one thing that's clear from the coach's words, it's that the race is wide open. However, a behind-the-scenes look suggests that Ty Simpson could be a step ahead in the race. The post-Jalen Milroe transition opens a new chapter for Alabama's offense, and Simpson, who has been patiently waiting for his opportunity, could finally get his chance to lead the team. DeBoer acknowledges that. "You certainly appreciate what he's done," the coach said, noting the young quarterback's quiet, disciplined work. He's continued to build relationships to prepare for this opportunity that he has right in front of him. But the coach, experienced enough not to hand the decision over to him, made sure to praise the other candidates at the position. Keelan Russell, a high-profile freshman, and Austin Mack, a transfer from Washington, represent legitimate options for the future of the position. And DeBoer knows that this internal competition could raise everyone's game. "We have some really clear strengths, and I'm excited about them," he said. All three of them work together, and it's really led to effective practices. The big question is, can Alabama afford to make a mistake in its starting quarterback selection? Last season was already a period of adjustment, a period in which the program had to reorganize without Nick Saban. Now, in 2025, the Crimson Tide has no more room for excuses. Fans want to see immediate results, and the QB1 pick could set the tone for the team. Simpson has the advantage of already knowing the system and having experience in the Alabama locker room. But will that be enough to fend off competition from Russell and Mack? The rookie arrives with enormous potential, while the Washington transfer has worked under DeBoer in the past, which could be a deciding factor if the competition remains close. What we know so far is that DeBoer is handling this battle with intelligence. He's not rushing into the decision and is certainly hoping that spring will bring more clarity. If there's one thing Alabama's recent history has taught us, it's that talent has never been an issue in Tuscaloosa. The challenge now is to find the right person to lead this team back to the top. Regardless of who emerges victorious, one thing is certain: the Crimson Tide will have a quarterback who can handle the responsibility. DeBoer knows this decision could define his second season at the helm, and he's making sure to keep all his cards on the table until he's sure he's chosen the best option to lead Alabama back to glory. Let's get moving. Jalen Milroe entered Senior Bowl week with a lot of expectations riding on his shoulders. The former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback, who possesses a unique combination of strength, speed and athleticism, has been one of the most talked about names in the 2025 class. However, now that the NFL's eyes are on mobile, an important question is being raised: could Milroe's accuracy be a hindrance in his transition to the professional level? Todd McShay, one of the draft's top analysts, was quick to point out what many have already observed in practice. "He's not accurate from short to intermediate," McShay said. "He's missing by significant amounts, and that's concerning." For a quarterback aspiring to be a starter in the NFL, accuracy on those passes is paramount. That technicality, if not adjusted, could limit his potential in a game when the margin for error is slim. On the other hand, McShay also recognized what makes Milroe a special prospect. The analyst praised his athleticism and powerful arm, traits that can't be taught and that make him an intriguing player for scouts around the league. In a game like the Senior Bowl, where chemistry between players is an unpredictable factor, mobile quarterbacks like Milroe can stand out simply because of their ability to create plays on the fly. "He's going to be incredible in the game on Saturday," McShay projected. The central issue of the discussion isn't whether Milroe has talent, but rather whether he can show that he can be a reliable passer in a professional system. During the 2024 season, he showed significant improvement under DeBoer, but accuracy has always been an area that scouts have closely monitored. The Senior Bowl is just one step in the process, and Milroe will still have the opportunity to bolster his status at the NFL Scouting Combine in pro days. It's worth noting that quarterback evaluations can fluctuate wildly in the months leading up to the draft. Players who start the season as sure bets can quickly fade, while others who perform at crucial moments can rise in the projections. Ole Miss Jackson Dart, for example, has made the most of his workouts and seen his name gain traction while Milroe has struggled. But if there's one thing Milroe has proven throughout his Alabama career, it's that he's not fazed by adversity. He's faced challenges before, from temporarily losing his starting job to coming back stronger and leading the Crimson Tide to big moments. His ability to learn and adapt will be key going forward. There's still time for Milroe to strengthen his draft standing. He has the attributes the NFL loves in modern quarterbacks: a cannon for an arm, the ability to extend plays, and a physique that commands respect. The question now is whether he can make the necessary adjustments to convince teams that he can be the right fit to lead a professional offense. And if there's one thing we've learned from watching his Alabama career, it's that we should never doubt his ability to respond. DeBoer's disturbing conspiracy confirmed as Nick Saban's mistake puts Alabama HC's future at risk. Alabama is in a new era, and with it comes the challenges of transition. The name DeBoer cannot and should not be placed under the shadow of Nick Saban after 1 year at Alabama, because there is no way to replicate the greatest of all time overnight. But one thing is clear: DeBoer did not come to Tuscaloosa to experiment. He has a winning track record and a solid philosophy. The question is not if he can win at Alabama, but when. The grand story many try to build is that DeBoer took over a program ready to continue winning, but the reality is quite different. Alabama was at a crossroads after Saban's departure. The former coach left an unparalleled legacy, but he also left behind a highly specific system, a roster molded under his philosophy and, most complicatedly, a group of players who had never known any other way of working. And, as expected, there was resistance. More than a dozen players entered the transfer portal, including key names. Jalen Milroe himself, who should have been ready for a spectacular season, found himself in a system that had not yet been adjusted to his strengths. J.D. Piquel made an interesting analysis of DeBoer's first year, highlighting that the issue was never the coach's talent, but rather the compatibility between his ideas and the available human material. Comparing a coach to a chef may be a curious analogy, but it makes sense. DeBoer did not arrive at Alabama with a pantry stocked with ingredients that exactly matched his style of play. He did not have the option of pressing the Nick Saban substitution button and, even so, finished his first season 9-4. It's not what fans want, but it's not a disaster either. DeBoer himself acknowledges that the level of performance needs to be improved. From day one, our goal was to perform at a championship level, and we fell short, the coach said. That self-awareness is a good sign. And actions are more important than words. Alabama has moved quickly in the transfer portal, bringing in reinforcements for positions that were weakened. The offensive line, which has suffered from the departure of players, has received names like Cam Dewberry, Texas A&M, and Arkell Anigwam, Ball State. On defense, the additions of Kelby Collins, Florida, and Cameron Calhoun, Utah, could help rebuild a unit that has lost key pieces. Still, there's an unwarranted rush to judge DeBoer. He was expected to magically replicate the Saban dynasty. But rebuilds take time, and adjustments are being made. Former Alabama player C.J. Dipree himself put it bluntly, people need to realize that things happen. Change happens. Coach DeBoer has done a great job, and I think he's going to be even better. What's really happening in Tuscaloosa now is a process of mutual adaptation. Alabama adjusts to the new leadership, and DeBoer molds the team to his vision of the game. What's important to remember is that the coach has unquestionable credentials. He's already proven that he can win. The question isn't if he can get Alabama back on top. It's when. I want to hear your thoughts now. Comment below.